Sometimes in life, just sometimes, things go your way. Mere moments ago, as I was preparing to record something went my way. You know how sometimes those things, sometimes big things, they can be quite elusive to solve. And the amount of relief that you can feel just sometimes when something goes your way. So for me, there's lots of things that I really like to say, but sometimes you just got to be patient and just wait. Wait for the right card to come up in the deck when you're ready to make a play. Yes, I know this is cryptic, and there's a lot I'd really like to say, but patience. My brothers and sisters, patience. So for me, it's been, I guess, a roller coaster ride for some time, quite a long time. And you know how when the roller coaster is going up and down, loop to loop, and there was one around here once called the corkscrew that went around like a corkscrew. And as long as the safety mechanisms hold, you know that the roller coaster will eventually stop and you'll be able to get out and walk away. Sometimes in life, roller coasters seem to go on forever and ever and ever. And sometimes you can see the end in sight, and the relief that you feel it's something that it's hard to describe when the roller coaster ride has been going for so long and the end has not been in sight. So, for me, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, and while ASMR has always been there, it's been very hard for myself to commit to that level of intent that it takes to create something that is there for you to use. And I hope now that roller coaster that I've been on for a while, I can see the station in sight. Things all of a sudden have gone smooth, and I hope that once that roller coaster finishes and I'll hop off, that Dmitri that was once there for you all will be back. He's always been there. It's kind of hard creating an ASMR video when you're riding a roller coaster. That would be a challenge. Create an ASMR video on a real roller coaster. Hashtag challenge ASMR on a roller coaster. I don't know how you do it. It'd be more like imagine trying to do an ASMR video on a roller coaster ride. It would be interesting and exhilarating and scary. And I'm getting a bit old for roller coasters. But I have a problem. I have a son. And he's itching to go on those roller coasters. And he's already been on kind of the ones that he can go on for his size. And when he's tall enough, he's going to say, Daddy, I want to go on a roller coaster. And I'm going to be like, oh crap, how can I get out of this? There ain't no getting out. When your son wants to go on his first roller coaster ride and he says to his dad, Dad, do you have the balls to go on a roller coaster ride with me? How can a man say no to that? And so I'll be on another roller coaster ride, but at least this one I know I can get out of after like 90 seconds or so, as long as I survive. But no, I'll be looking forward to the day that I can go on a roller coaster ride with my son, and he can enjoy the acceleration. And once he's old enough, he can go on by himself. Thank you very much. I hope he doesn't ask me to jump out of a plane. Man, when I was younger, I would have done it. I had the opportunity to bungee jump off of a building in Macau or near Hong Kong. And had I been around a group of men jumping off that building to bungee jump, I would have probably done it, because as a man, when there are other men around you doing something exhilarating and exciting and daring, it's very difficult to avoid going. But sometimes, you should commit to your decisions. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't be forced to do something that you don't want to do. But bungee jumping is something I've kind of always wanted to do. But I kind of have this thing about jumping off something really, really high. There's something in my mind that says that's not a good idea to do. Similar to jumping out of an aeroplane, but man, would that be fun. That'd be a huge adrenaline rush. Anyway, so the topic of this video is winning the lotto. Not that I won the lotto. Getting on and off roller coasters. And me, or my son. Anyway, so one of the topics of this video is I'm kind of pretty happy. Not that I'm jumping up and down. This is an ASMR video. You don't want to jump up and down while I'm doing an ASMR video, because I might scare you. Yeah, and I know some people have suggested doing a jump scare video during an ASMR video, but as much as I'd love to, I don't think it would be appreciated. Anyway, so today is a special day for me. But it's also the first day of school and sending my son to school, which means I can get some time to do some things that I want to do. And being here in front of the camera is something I've been wanting to do for a while. And anyway, so during the school holidays, I got to take my son to a place here in southeast Queensland called Bestbrook Farmstay. I'll put a link down below. And here you have the opportunity to do animal feedings, milk cows, ride horses. Basically, it's a camping location, and it's my intention to explore the land around where I live and take him with me and teach him about it, make him feel comfortable in uncomfortable environments. You can't expect to be air conditioned and pampered all your life, Anyway, So I'll just put some footage in as I'm talking. So at the moment, or at that point in time, there's been a lot of fires in Australia, which has been on the news everywhere. And the fires have been quite devastating to the point where whole forests have been burnt out. And the problem was that the people that manage the land weren't allowed to burn off the fuel that's been sitting on the ground for so long. Because if you manage the land and you start a fire, you do it on a day where there's no wind, when the conditions are right, and the fire burns through along the ground. All right, just a slow moving fire. It gives the animals a chance to get away. You know, it's not completely toasting everything. And by doing that, it allows regrowth once there's rain, which brings the animals back to feed. And it doesn't do too much damage, and basically it's a normal part of the bush life in Australia. But when there's so much fuel, literally everything just goes up, and the trees themselves are just I can't imagine how serious some of these fires were, where flames are going like 50 meters high, anyway. So the environment's been very, very dry, drought. You'll see in some of the video that everything's very brown when you go into that environment. Seeing green is unusual. But now the drought is breaking. We've gotten hail, floods. You know, it's just, Australia is just the environment and the climate is extremes. You go from like one extreme to the other, drought, then floods, you know, fires and hail, and it's just the way it is, you know. So anyway, things are very green around where I live, and the area where we stayed, they've had some rain, which has been beneficial, and now lots of farmlands are getting rain, lots of country towns are getting rain right now. They're all getting floods, which is exactly what they need. They're filling up dams. I apologise for waffling on. I'll put links down below to click through all of the boring bits that I talk about, because I can get a little bit boring. Anyway, so Bestbrook. We arrived there. There's not really many people. I was a bit surprised. I expected the place to be more full, considering it was the first couple of weeks of school holidays. And so I decided to try and find a flat piece of ground that had a little bit of shade for my campsite. And I'll put some pictures down below of my campsite. And so basically it's just a relaxing time. Feeding animals, you know, you get to feed the pig, it's very noisy, feed the cows, milk the cows, feed the chickens, which was my son's favourite thing. And there was a whip cracking, which I couldn't crack a whip for anything. Anyway, but I gave my son most of the chance to try and crack whip, but he couldn't crack a whip either. So neither of us could crack a whip. Yet on the other side, there was this young girl, 10, 11 years old. She was cracking it every time. You know, a bit of a wagon ride. But one of the things that I really liked that we could do there was teach him to ride a horse. It gives him skills and confidence of doing something. And these days, kids are so young, we push them into stuff that we wouldn't normally push them into when I was a kid. You know, I wouldn't have done stuff like that till I was older. But we were there. He wanted to try. And so I basically paid for a couple of lessons, to the point where after his second lesson, the people that worked there said that he was ready to go ride horses all by himself, control a horse. And they have like a 1 hour trail ride where you can ride around the property and enjoy riding a horse. So we didn't do that, but it will be something that we'll do in the future as he gets older. There's no rush. I just want to put that memory in his mind that he can ride a horse. And he loved milking the cows, and they'd squirt some milk and drink the milk like a fountain. Not suck on the teat, but just squeeze it and then squirt it into his mouth. you know, like whacking the cows on the back with the poles to herd the cows into the next field where they could feed them. And it just gives him a little bit of a taste of what farm life is like and where food comes from. And that's pretty much about it. There was one point where the owner of the property, or the farmer, the main farmer that was working there, said we could have a little fire. And so we had a little fire, but then we had to figure out how to put the fire out. And the creek was bone dry. The farmer that worked there said he'd never ever seen the creek not flowing, but it was bone dry. And so I thought about it, and I had this magic idea. We had water pistols, and we had some water, and so we filled up the water pistols, and we just basically hammered the fire with the water pistols. You know, you could imagine a fire and water pistols is not going to put it out, but eventually it does. And when you do it, it's like something out of like Star Wars. It's like when you hit the fire with the water, it's like a laser gun. And so we put the fire out with water pistols, which was a little highlight. And someone left us some marshmallows. And these marshmallows come from America, and they were giant size marshmallows. I had never seen anything like it in my life. You know, normally marshmallows are this big. These marshmallows were that big. They were huge marshmallows. And so we roasted one marshmallow each. I gave them a little bit more, but so yeah, we roasted like the biggest marshmallows we'd ever seen in our lives over the fire. And then we got to put it out, and they had a pool there, and we just basically relaxed. Just enjoyed ourselves. Went back to Fraser Island again a couple of weeks ago, and just went back there. We'll be going back again next school holidays, and I'm hoping to get some decent video footage. We're going over to the beautiful side, or one of the beautiful sections of the island, and I'll try and gather up some video footage and some photos there for you. So, you know, for me, I've just finished school holidays. And now I get some time to myself. Taught my son, or tried to encourage to teach him snorkeling, so that he can gain his confidence to go out in the open ocean water and go snorkeling. At Fraser Island, there's a place called Champagne Pools, where basically it's like a little natural pool that the water blows over, and there's always little fish in there, and it's basically you can just snorkel around in there. You don't even need a snorkel, just some goggles and stuff like that. You know, Fraser Island, Eli Creek, Fraser Island's a great place. And that's about it. We did a bit of forward driving, we got muddy. Yeah, I'm just happy. It feels like a stage in my life that has been a bit like a roller coaster. It's coming to an end, and I'm looking forward to it. It's my stomach. Yeah, so I'm hoping to bring out some more videos for you. I got a massive list of videos to make, so there's no point asking for any, because I'm just going to focus on doing little bits and pieces. The videos will be short until I can sort of work on creating some bigger, longer videos for you. So be patient with me. I appreciate all of your patience over the last few years, and I hope that we can move forward together. So you, sir, are the famous Charlie Barley. Is that correct? Oh. Was that a yes or was that a no? Oh, she's a kitty.
Are you going to ride Sparky again?
Daddy Bobby!
Would you like to ride Sparky?
Daddy Bobby!
Yeah?
Charlie Bobby! He says, give me cookie! Charlie Bobby! Oh, good. Charlie, want a drink?
Charlie, want a drink?
Daddy want a drink?
Oh.
Pick over here.
Yeah, you can have a drink.
Daddy, pick over here.